Hi, Mike Filipov here from PracticeGuitarNow.com, and in this video I want to talk to you about two very effective practice approaches that will help you to greatly improve the results you're getting from every practice session. And before we get to these two approaches, I want to first define two general categories of practice items, specifically guitar technique related practice items that most players typically practice. The first category is the items that you are trying to improve your playing with. So let's say you already know how to play a certain scale or a scale sequence, and all you're trying to do is play the scale sequence faster or cleaner or more articulately with the picking hand, or improving your ability to keep the two hands in sync, or you're trying to minimize the amount of excessive tension you're using when you're playing this scale. Any of those things you're trying to improve is one category. And the second category of practice items includes things that you are either just learning for the first time. Let's say you're learning how to sweep pick or how to do string skipping for the first time, or two-hand tapping. Or it also includes things that you are fundamentally changing about your playing. Let's say you've discovered that you have this problem with your finger independence in your fretting hand, and your fingers are flying away from the guitar neck, and you're trying to fundamentally redo the way you use the fretting hand to play certain exercises to improve that. Or let's say with your picking hand you notice that you have this excessive motion with the pick is bouncing away from the strings, and you're trying to really fundamentally transform the way your pick operates on the strings. So that's another category of practice items. So you have things that you're trying to improve and things you're either learning for the first time or fundamentally trying to transform. So now, here come the two practice approaches that are very effective for each of these categories. The first one is called focus rotation. And you may have heard me talk about this in my other videos on my YouTube channel, or write about it in my articles on my website, PracticeGuitarNow.com. But basically what it is you're focusing on each element of your guitar technique and your guitar playing at a time by literally rotating your focus on one element of technique at a time. So what you're doing is you're going to be playing your exercise, your scale sequence for example. You're just going to play it over and over, non-stop, just keep repeating it. And for each repetition, you're going to rotate what your mind focuses on. So for the first repetition, you might focus on your picking hand. For the second repetition, you might focus on your fretting hand. Then you might focus for the third repetition on your ability of your hands to stay in sync. For the fourth repetition, you might focus on how clean your playing is, such as if you have some excessive sloppy noises from either the higher strings or the lower strings, and cleaning that up. For the next one, you might focus on excessive tension. Then you might go back to focusing on the picking hand. And basically, it's just a non-stop rotation cycle. If you play the scale sequence through 100 times, you are going to focus either on 100 different elements if you have this many, or you might focus on 20 elements 5 times, or on 5 elements 20 times during that 100 repetition cycle. And the obvious benefit of this is, rather than mindlessly repeating the exercise 100 times, as most guitar players tend to do, you're actually going to be training your technique to become better. And this is what perfect practice is all about. It's not about mindlessly repeating something a whole bunch of times and hoping you'll get better. It's about actively engaging your mind to train the things you want to get better until they are better. And this is a key aspect of what I train guitarists to do when I work with them in my Rapid Fire Guitar Practice Training course, is training them to develop this focus and knowing what to focus on and what to pay attention to actually make their playing improve with each practice session. Okay, so to apply this practice approach, focus rotation, in your practicing, pick a certain exercise or item that you want to improve your playing with, then make a list of all the different elements you need to pay attention to, all the nuances of technique you must be aware of, and those things can be either the ones I just listed for you in this hypothetical example, or other ones that may be specific to you, or that you may have heard me talk about in my other videos on my YouTube channel, or that I've written about in my articles. And you simply begin this rotating process as you practice. You repeat the item over and over, and your mind needs to be very focused and very alert on each element you need to be aware of, and try to make it as perfect as you can, and drill through as many perfect repetitions as you can go through, as your mind can tolerate. And as you do this over and over, you will notice your playing improve and become easier. And by the way, if you're not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, you should be. And if you're not following me on my website, you also should be, because I regularly release new content and new articles and videos that contain strategies such as this that will help you make your practicing more effective and your playing more enjoyable. Now let's talk about the second strategy, which is called focus alternation. And it is both similar to and also different from the focus rotation concept. And it is similar in that you're also going to be rotating between different elements of your technique. But it is different in that you're not going to be doing this in the same practice session. Instead, you may pick just a single entire practice session, let's say a block of 20 minutes, 30 minutes, or an hour, or even 2 hours if you can mentally stand this, and just focus like a laser on one fundamental concept you're trying to either ingrain into your muscle memory, such as when you're learning something for the first time, or that you're trying to change, such as when you're changing some bad habit or fundamentally transforming or improving something about your playing. So you're still going to make a list of all the different elements that you need to be aware of and pay attention to when you're practicing, let's say, for example, a scale sequence. But the difference is, instead of only focusing on your picking hand for one repetition of the scale sequence, then for the next repetition you're focusing on the fretting hand, you may do 100 repetitions, but focus all 100 of them on just one element, such as, let's say your pick was bouncing all over the place after each note. You're going to be staring with your eyes at your pick like a hawk for the entire 100 repetitions, and make sure that it is not bouncing away and it is moving up and down in the most efficient and economical way possible. And then when the next practice session rolls around, let's say you practice for the first time on Monday, then you practice the next day on Tuesday, then you're going to alternate your focus, and now you're going to focus, let's say, on excessive tension. And now you're going to play the same scale sequence the same 100 times, and you're going to pay attention to relaxing your shoulders because they're not being used in playing guitar, so they should be completely relaxed. And you're going to also focus on, let's say, relaxing your ring finger when your middle finger is playing to make sure excessive tension is being minimized that way. And then on Wednesday, or whenever you practice the exercise next, you might focus on just cleanliness of your playing, making sure there's no excessive string noise being present in your playing. And then on Thursday or Friday or whenever you practice next, you might focus on two-hand synchronization. Here's why these two strategies exist and why they serve two different purposes in your guitar practicing. When you are seeking to improve upon something you can already do well by using the focus rotation method, that means that certain elements of your guitar technique are either already at a high enough level, or they are at least at a good enough level where you can just focus on something once and then let it go on autopilot while you rotate your focus to focus on something else, and then you can let the second thing aside while you rotate your focus to the third thing. And the first two things are now sort of on autopilot until you come back to them in your next focus rotation cycle. But when you are learning something for the very first time, or you're seeking to undo a deeply ingrained bad habit, you really cannot apply a focus rotation strategy effectively. Because in order to undo a bad habit, you need to do lots and lots and lots of absolutely perfect repetitions to fix whatever needs to be fixed, just as one element of your technique, or ingrain a new habit into your muscle memory. You can't just get away with doing it once or twice and then rotate your focus to focus on something else, because either your bad habit is going to come back again, or you are not going to be focused enough to make sure that the correct habit is being trained to begin with. So that is why focus alternation strategy is effective for those types of contexts when you are learning a brand new technique, brand new exercise, brand new guitar solo, or even more commonly when you are undoing effects of ineffective practicing or years of mindless practicing and changing bad habits. That is when this strategy applies. And if you're not sure what types of bad habits you might have that might need this focus alternation strategy, or if you're not sure if you're aware of all bad habits in your technique, then I invite you to watch another video on my YouTube channel that you can watch at this link right here, where you're going to see me practice a variety of different things, and I will intentionally insert a variety of playing and practicing mistakes that you're going to see, but I'm not going to tell you in video what they are. I'm going to challenge you to identify what some of those things are. And then I'm going to give you a special report for free that will contain the answers to all the things I did wrong and all the things that I intentionally inserted as flaws or bad habits or a combination of the two. And this is going to help you greatly with becoming effective at analyzing your own guitar playing for mistakes, bad habits, and so on, and know when it is appropriate for you to apply the focus rotation method or the focus alternation method, or even more commonly, you might apply the focus alternation method for a while, and then once the item becomes good enough and more advanced in your skill level, you might put it into the focus rotation category and apply the focus rotation method to it. Of course, there are lots of other practice methods besides just these two that you can use to make your practicing highly effective, but these two are the biggest ones that I want you to focus on right now to improve the vast majority of all the items you're currently practicing to make your playing progress much faster. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like the video, make sure to subscribe to my channel because I'll be releasing lots of new content like this regularly. And I also want to invite you to come to my website at this link right here, and on this page you'll be able to watch another video of mine which is totally free and is going to explain to you another practicing concept that I developed for solving deeply ingrained guitar technique challenges in a cool and innovative way that is easy to implement in your playing. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do that to get more results from your practicing and become the guitar player you want to be a lot faster. So go to that link right now, check it out, and I'll see you in the next video.